You are well, and also that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing our grade 3 English lesson on antonyms, right? And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of language arts, grade 3, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to the chapter of antonyms. And in our previous lesson, we did synonyms, right? And we said synonyms are words with the same meaning or words with almost the same meaning, right? And we made examples of words such as dad or father, right? The meanings are the same or almost the same. Mom or mother, the words are the same or almost the same, right? Those are synonyms. But now we'll be doing antonyms, right? So our chapter is antonyms. Our subject is English, which is language arts, grade 3. And the lessons that we will be focusing on today is to choose the antonym, which sentence uses an antonym, and to find antonyms in context. That is going to be our lessons for today. All right, so now we're going straight into it. An antonym, right? So an antonym are words with opposite meaning, right? So we see the synonym was words with the same or almost the same, right? Meaning. But now an antonym is words with opposite meaning, means the opposite of what it actually is. All right. So we said antonyms are basically words with the opposite meaning. And an example of an antonym is, for example, it's either something is big or someone is big, and the opposite of big is little. It's the same like saying the opposite of, let's say, black is white, right? Usually those are opposite colors, and they would usually separate those colors. Even if you do washing, the laundry, they separate those colors, right? So we are basically choosing the antonyms. Big and little, it's like the opposites. The opposite is in color, right? Is I either have a black color or I have a white color or a black top or a white top. Another example of an opposite meaning of an antonym is something is either short, you get a short pencil, or you get a long pencil, or you can say short or tall. Can you think of more antonyms, words that are opposite meaning or with opposite meaning? Can you think of years? So another antonym is where it's either dirty and clean. So the opposite of dirty is clean. Opposite of clean is dirty. Yes, well done. Ooh, okay, okay. So it's either something is ugly and pretty, right? So it's either something is ugly or pretty or ugly and beautiful, right? And we're not going to say it in the sense of looks. We're not going to look at that. We're going to let's rather look at the ugliness and the prettiness of people's characters and behaviors. Yes, so we have an ungrateful person, and the opposite of ungrateful is grateful, right? So those are opposites. All right. If we look at another word that is an antonym and we are talking about opposite in meaning, it can be big and small. So we either say it's big and little, or it can be big and small, right? Okay, cool and uncool. Or we can say that is also opposite, yes, because that is how a person maybe is. You have a cool person, and then you have an uncool person, somebody who's not cool, right? So those are all antonyms, right? And we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? It means the opposite of what that the previous word is. So antonyms are words with opposite meanings. Yes, another word is when you are happy. Another antonym is when you're happy and when I'm sad. So it's either I'm happy or I'm sad, right? Happiness when you're showing your face lights up, you're smiling, you're happy. But when you're sad, it's like you want to cry, right? You don't want to talk to anybody. You're emotionally down. That is the opposites of one another, right? All right. So these are all the antonyms, right? It is words with opposite meaning. We said black and white, big and little, short and long, or we can say short and tall, happy and sad, dirty and clean, ugly and pretty, ungrateful and grateful, big and small, cool and uncool. It's either you're a good person or you are a bad person. And it's either you come or you go. You either stand up or sit down. Yes. We can even say love and hate, right? We shouldn't hate one another, but love and hate because it's opposite, right? It's opposites meaning or opposite meanings, right? So well done. So thank you very much for that. Now, if we look at some more examples of opposites or antonyms. All right. So if we look at these charts, right? Yeah, they're giving us the opposite meaning, right? French and English, we can't really say those are opposite languages, right? But since you maybe have someone who speaks English, someone else who speaks French, you can kind of say so. Alive and dead, yes, right? That is opposite meanings. Even over here, if we look at some more examples, right? We have a short pencil and then we have a long pencil, right? Something is either low or something is very high. We can say either something is big, small, or we can say something is big. It's either something is right and the opposite is when something is wrong. All right, and then we have from the top or at the bottom. Wet and dry. Yes, those are also opposite. And then also, like you said, we have good, a good person, and then we have a bad person, or good thing and a bad thing, right? So those are, or these are a few words that are opposite, right, in meaning. And we call that antonyms. Antonyms are words with opposite in meaning, or that are opposite in meaning. And then we also have, look at the other chart, right? The other chart, we have big and small. It's either you're a child, which is children, or you're a parent, which is parents. It's either up and down. You can either scream very loud or you can whisper so that no one can hear you, right? Fast or slow, and then happy and sad. All right, so now we're going to leave it at that and we're going to go to a plus students.ca. We said our chapter is antonyms, and the lessons that we are going to be focusing on is to choose the antonym. So we're going to choose the antonym. Right? So we're not still going to go over all the antonyms like we did, because we literally just went over all the antonyms where we had to give a few antonyms and say the opposites of one another, or the opposite of words with opposite meaning, right? So now we're going to go straight to our test. The screen is blur. I don't don't know how to unblur it. I really don't know how to unblur it. Let me see. Cover whole screen. Is that better? Or is it okay? All right, it's better now. Thank you. All right, so now we are to choose the antonym, right? We are now about test. Okay, thank you. I'm glad it's not blur anymore. So now we need to say which word is an antonym, right? So what is the antonym of mean? If someone is mean to you, right? The opposite of being mean. If somebody is mean to you, because if someone is mean to you, then they are a bad person. But what is the opposite of being mean? So if someone is not mean to you, all right. So if someone is not mean to you, we can say the person is nice. All right. So well done. Nice is great because mean is when somebody is bad, does bad things, right? But if they don't do bad things, then they are nice. They are not being cheeky, nothing. We need to give the opposite of bottom. The opposite of bottom. Is it shape or is it top? The opposite of bottom. Is it shape or top? All right. So if we see the opposite of bottom, then we can say it is top. So well done. Top is correct. We need to find the opposite of clean. If something is not clean, if it's not clean, is it happy or is it dirty? If it's not clean, is it happy or is it dirty? The opposite of clean, is it happy or dirty? All right, so the opposite of clean, if something is not clean, then we can say it is dirty, right? So if it's not clean, it's dirty. So well done. All right, so the opposite of right. If we're not going, if something is not right, if something is not right, is it maybe or is it wrong? Something is not right. Is it maybe or is it wrong? The opposite of right. All right, so the opposite of right, Yes, we can say the opposite of right is wrong, right? Because if you're not right, then you are wrong. There we go. So wrong is correct. So well done. Well done, everybody. The opposite of start, right? The opposite of start. Is it to end or is it soon? Opposite of start. Is it end or soon? So the opposite of start. Yes. So if we don't start something, we are ending it, right? So end is correct. So well done. End is correct. So now we're going to say which sentence uses an antonym. We need to say which sentence uses an antonym. Did you close the jar of blueberry? So did you close the jar of blueberry? So we need to look at the word close. And we are going to basically identify the opposite of close. So the opposite of close, right? It says, did you close the jar of blueberry? So we need to say the opposite of close. Something is not closed, right? Yes, so if something is not closed, then we can say it is open, right? So don't close it, but open it, right? The next one says, Mrs. Hanson's cookie jar is full. We need to find the opposite of full, right? If something is not full, then it's what? All right. And the opposite of throw. Do you know how to throw a basketball? So it's either I throw a basketball. If I throw the basketball to you, then you are going to do what? If I throw it, you're going to catch it, right? So we need to write the opposite of throw. The opposite of throw. I throw it to you. Yes, I throw and you catch, right? And this was empty, right? So those are opposite in meaning, right? These are antonyms, and we said antonyms are words basically with opposite meaning. All right. So now let's go to our test. So we are going to our test. So we need to read the sentence, right? And then select the sentence that uses an antonym in place of the word in bold. It says, did you close a jar of blueberry jelly? All right, so we need to select, did you close the jar of blueberry? So the word close. It says, did you choose the jar of blueberry jelly, or did you open the jar of blueberry jelly? All right, so we can say then, did you close the jar of blueberry? Did you open the jar of blueberry? So open is correct. Well done. Then now, do you know how to throw a baseball? So do you know how to throw a baseball? So yeah, we need to look at the opposite meaning, right? It says, do you know how to catch a baseball? So we need to find the opposite of the word, for example, throw. And yes, catch is correct. So we can say Eric sang a slow song for the show and tell. Slow song. What is the opposite of slow? All right, so we sang, or Eric sang, a slow song for show and tell. So do we say Eric sang a pretty song or Eric sang a fast song? All right, so the opposite of slow is fast, right? It's unusual for that kind of bush to blossom in April. So it is unusual for that kind of bush to blossom in April. right? And the last one says, it's unusual for that kind of bush to blossom in April. All right. So it says, it's unusual for that kind of bush to blossom in April. All right. So we can say it's common for that kind of bush to blossom in April. So we need to say the opposite of common. So that the oh no, we're not saying the opposite. We're saying the opposite of unusual. Sorry, and we can say it is common. Yes. So well done. Sorry about that. All right. So we had to say the opposite of unusual. Mrs. Dickerson slowly sweeps her front porch. So we say common is correct. And then the last one says Mrs. Dickerson slowly sweeps her front porch. Slowly sweeps her front porch. What is the opposite meaning of slowly? So Mrs. Dickerson slowly sweeps her front porch. All right. So the opposite of slowly, right, is when you're doing it quickly. So it says Mr. Dickerson slowly sweeps on his front porch. All right, and the last one we can say Mrs. Dickerson slowly sweeps on the porch. So, then the opposite of slowly is quickly. All right, so quickly is correct. Well done. So we now need to select the antonym of the word in bold, right? Because remember, we are not done yet. So it says Logan always thinks he's right about everything, but sometimes he's wrong. Remember, we said antonyms are words with opposite meanings, right? And so far, we have literally discussed a whole lot of opposites, right? So that is why we are just going straight to our test to test ourselves, right? So we need to select the antonym in brackets. So Logan always thinks he's right about everything, but sometimes he is wrong. So we need to select the opposite of right, and we can say the opposite of right within that sentence, right? The opposite of right is wrong. So that is the opposite of the word, which is right. So we can say the opposite of right is wrong. Or if we look at the word right and we were to seek the opposite in direction, what would be the opposite in direction? If the sentence is right, then what is the opposite in direction of right? If it's not right, and then we're going, so we said he's right, but also he's wrong, because wrong is the opposite of right, or left is the opposite of right, depending on the context of the the question. All right. It says there are few seats left at the front of the bus. So we can say there are few seats left in the front of the bus. Are there any seats left at the back? But now get the word few. What is the opposite of few? All right, so if we are going to look at the antonyms of the word, which is the opposites, right? It says, my dad likes to sleep on a hard pillow, but my mom likes soft pillows. All right, so hard. What is the opposite of hard? If something is very hard, what is the opposite of it being very hard? Something is hard. It's like dad sleeping on a hard pillow. All right, so we can say, my dad likes to sleep on a hard pillow, but my mom likes a soft pillow. So I think what we can do is we can then look for the opposite within that sentence, right? So hard, and then we have a soft pillow. All right, so we said soft is the opposite of hard, right? Even here, if we look at this one, we have few seats, right? It says there are few seats left at the front of the bus. Are there many seats left at the back? So we can either say hard and the opposite is soft. The same here with few, we can say many. All right, so we said antonyms are words with opposite meaning, right? And we made an example of big and little, black and white. We made an example of light and darkness, right? Those are all antonyms because they are opposite in meaning, right? The one word means one thing, and then antonyms mean the other thing and the opposite thing, right? All right, so this is now the end of our lesson, grade 3 on antonyms. Thank you very much for joining the class and for being so interactive, right? I really hope that you're going to have a good day further. Goodbye. So we remove it.